One major problem that a lot of people run into when they're starting to write songs is how do you come up with ideas for different chord progressions in the song? So rather than just having one chord progression for the whole song, how do you have a different chord progression for the verse and for the chorus and for the bridge? And how do you make it all fit? Today, I'm going to show you a trick that you can use that will turn one chord progression into 4 chord progressions. And then I'm going to give you a pro tip after that's actually going to turn it into more. So let's dive right in. So let's look at this first chord progression. This is probably the most common chord progression on the planet. You've heard thousands of songs use this chord progression, and it's a good thing that you can't copyright a chord progression or else everybody would sue everybody, right? So here it is. This is G, which is the 1 chord in this key, and then D, which is the 5 chord, and then E minor, which is the 6 chord, and then C, which is the 4. So in songwriting terms, we would refer to each of those chords by their function within the key. So G is 1, D is 5, E is 6, and C is 4. So it's a 1, 5, 6, 4 chord progression. So that goes G, D, E minor, and then C. There's so many songs that use that. So that's something that you could use right away. If you haven't written a song yet, go use that chord progression and write your own song with it. It's easy. It doesn't matter if it's been done before. It doesn't matter if there's songs that have used that chord progression before. You can put your own spin on it and make it your own thing. In fact, I just realized I've never written a song with that chord progression, so maybe I need to go write one too. But I digress. Now, let's say that you're writing a song and you decide, I really like this chord progression for the chorus, and I'm gonna use it for the chorus because that would be really good. It fits what I'm going for, and I think it sounds really good, so I'm going to use that one for the chorus. Now, how do I come up with chord progressions to fit the verse and to fit the bridge? Well, did you know that you can invert your chord progressions? Now, we've talked before about chord inversions, where you invert a chord. And the way that you do that is you take the lowest note of a chord, like if we're playing a G chord, our notes are G, B, and then D, and we move that lowest note, which in this case is G, we make it the highest note. That inverts the chord. So that way we would have B, D, and then G. That's an inversion of your G chord. Right? Now we can do the same idea with your chord progression. So check this out. Our chord progression before was G, and then D, and then E minor, and then C. So let's do this. Check this out. Let's take G and make that the last note. So let's start on our D chord, and we're going to play D, E minor, C, G. And check out how that's going to sound. We're going to play D, E minor, C, and then G. You hear how that is the same chords, but if I'm playing them in this order, it gives it a little bit different feel, and this becomes its own chord progression. Now we could do that again. Let's invert it again. We could take the D chord and make it the last chord now. So we're going to start with E minor, then we're going to play C, then we're going to play G, then we're going to play D. Now check this out. We're going to get this now. I like that one. And here's the thing, we can do it one more time. Let's see, we can make the E minor chord the last one. So we could start on C, and then play G, and then play D, and then play E minor. So check this out. We're going to play C here, G, and then D, and then E minor. right? So you can do all sorts of different things. So out of that one chord progression that we started with, we just created 4. Now this, you could think of it like inverting, like we do inverting chords, or you could think of it as a different mode of that chord progression. So for example, if we have a scale, a lot of times we talk about different scales and modes. Now a mode is essentially just a different part of the scale. For example, if we normally have our C major scale, which is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, a different mode of that scale would be if we play the exact same notes in the exact same order, but we start and finish on a different note. So I'm going to start and end on D, then I'm going to play D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. Same notes, same scale, but by changing where I start and finish, it makes it feel different. So we call that a different mode. And so it's the same idea with our chord progression. We had G, D, E minor, C. And then we played D, E minor, C, G. And then we played E minor, C, G, D. And then we played C, G, D, E minor. And if we inverted it one more time by moving our first chord to the last chord, we would be back to playing G, D, E minor, C, right? Does that make sense? So out of one chord progression that you like, you can pull multiple chord progressions out of it. Now here's why that is good. Because we're using the same chords, it's going to make it feel like it fits, and we're using similar movements here. So I said before that I like this E minor, starting with E minor, and then C, and then G, and then D. So let's say I'm going to play that for my verse, right? And then for the chorus, I'm going to go back to G, and then D, and then E minor, and then C, right? Now those will work good together. For example, I'm just going to play this. I'll play the verse chord progression where we start on E minor. I'll play that twice, and then I'll play the chorus chord progression. Now I'm going to do a little bit different things with my playing too, so that they sound different, because I want the verse to sound different from the chorus, right? So to do that, we're going to do this. Now that would be a good verse, and then going right into a chorus, right? Now let's write one more chord progression that we can use for a bridge, still using these same chords. So nothing fancy, no borrowed chords, no key changes, nothing like that. Same 4 chords. Let's start with our D chord, and then we'll change to E minor, and then to C. But here's another cool trick that you can use. Instead of just playing it with the same 4 chords, making every chord progression 4 chords, what I'm going to do this time is I'm actually going to remove a chord and do a 3-chord chord progression. This is another trick that you can use to take these same different modes of the chord progression and turn them into more, because you can play the different chords for a different amount of time and come up with different ideas. In this way, less gives you more. Pretty cool, right? So for the bridge part, let's do this. Let's play our D chord, E minor, and then C. And then D again, and E minor, and then C. Now, normally after bridge, we go back into the chorus like this. Now, it just so happened that with the choices that I made for the bridge, because I did D, E minor, C, and we left that G note out, that G chord, then when we went into the final chorus, we hadn't heard that G chord for a minute. So it really felt like it resolved and it goes into that final part of the song, right? Pretty cool, right? Now, that wasn't anything difficult. That's taking the same chords, playing them in a different order, and making choices about what you want to do with those. And you don't have to do exactly what I did here. This is just an example. You are free to create whatever you want to do. You can add a pre-chorus and then have the chorus and then have a post-chorus little riff thing. You know, there's all sorts of different stuff that you can do. Songwriting is all about choices. That is it. And you get to make those choices. You're in charge. There's no right or wrong answers. Honestly, there's not. So when it comes to using these ideas, what it really boils down to is what you want to do, what you like to hear. This is just to give you some options of things that you can use and try out, and hopefully you'll find an idea that you like. Now, like I said, if you haven't been writing songs before, songwriting, I think, is something that every guitar player should be doing. There's something to being on the creative side of things rather than always playing someone else's music. That is like two sides of the same coin. When it comes to playing music, being creative is huge and anybody can do it. So I hope that you can take this. I hope that you become a better songwriter with this idea. So if you've felt stuck before coming up with ideas for your songs, I hope that by taking these different modes of a chord progression or inverting your chord progression gives you some different ideas that you can use that make you a better songwriter, so that when you're writing songs, one, you come up with stuff that you like, things that you're proud to play for people, and also things that people enjoy listening to and enjoy hearing. So have fun with that tip today, guys. I hope that was good for you. If you have any questions, do let me know down in the comments below. And you know what? While we're at it, why don't you go check out this next video about how to start out easily writing songs. So go check out that video, leave a question down below. Thanks again for watching today. You're awesome. I really appreciate you. I will catch you in this next video about songwriting.